You are coming out of a contraceptive, maybe that was hormonal or non-hormonal, and you want to increase your chances of getting pregnant. So you want to enhance your fertility. There are several things that you need to know. Now, the first thing is definitely bodies are usually different. So you might end up, okay, we are taking an example with someone that was taking a hormonal contraceptive. You might find that you are getting your menses earlier than someone else who was taking the same type. Maybe you are taking something like a Depo-Provera. Maybe she's getting her menses earlier than you, or you're getting them earlier than her. And sometimes it can even take some few months for you to get them. And in other cases, it might even take some few years, like 2 to 3 years before you start getting your menses back. And when you're not getting your menses, it might mean that you're not fertile enough at that point. And for you to have your menses, you'll have to have ovulation. But also you'll have to know that maybe you're getting your menses, but you're not fertile. Or maybe you're not getting your menses, but you're fertile. It's only maybe your body needs to acclimatize. Now, the first thing that you need to know is you really need to give yourself time. Whether you're taking something like a IUD, which is copper, or non-hormonal contraceptives, or you're just using hormonal contraceptives, you need to give yourself time, because your body will have to optimize, because now some of those, especially the hormonal ones, will disrupt your hormones. Now, it will take time before the natural hormones start synchronizing with the cycle. And also, sometimes when you come out of your pill, you might start getting heavy bleeding, or maybe some just spotting, or maybe you get exactly the same symptoms that you are getting when you started on the contraceptive. But first of all, you'll have to know, before you started on the contraceptive, were you fertile in the first place? So that in case you're troubleshooting why you're not getting your menses, when you're not getting pregnant, you can have a basis like, hey, I have another kid, so I started on contraceptive, so now I'm not getting this because maybe something else happened. So from there you can troubleshoot well. But in case maybe you are not fertile at that point, an approach might be different to troubleshoot, because sometimes you might have something like depleted egg reserves, where a test like AMH, which is anti-Mullerian tests, anti-Mullerian hormone tests, will come in handy to know whether you still have viable eggs or eggs reserves that will help in trying to troubleshoot. Now, like we said, time is very important. After you come out of the pill or out of the contraceptive that you are using, give yourself time. And this will depend with the type that you are taking. We have some that will take just a very short period of time, like the oral contraceptives, but we have others like Depo-Provera that can even give you 3 years, sometimes even 4. So it ranges from 9 to several years. Now, if you are taking that pill, then you'll have to, first of all, make sure you understand the information. Ask your doctor how long, if you want to conceive, you'll take for you to become fertile again. So time is very important. And I actually recommend you, once you come out of the pill, it's very important for you to make sure you give yourself time, because if you go directly become pregnant, some of the methods, some of the contraceptives that you do can affect your system such that it will increase the chances of you getting high-risk pregnancies, like ectopic pregnancy, complicated pregnancies. So you might end up having more than one birth at the same time. And some other conditions, like we mentioned when we were talking about Depo-Provera, that you might start getting issues like gestational diabetes and hypertension during your pregnancy. So it's good to give yourself time so that your body will be able to optimize everything to receive a new pregnancy. The second thing that you really need to know is your weight. Now, this time after you're done with the pill, what's your weight? And a good indication will be your BMI. Normal BMI will be between 18.5 to 24.5. I usually extend this to 24.9. That's a safe zone. So if you are within that, then your BMI is normal. In case you are under 18.5, it means you are underweight and you need to add weight to get to a point where you have enough fats in your body that will help, manufacture of estrogen will require cholesterol in your blood, in your body. So you really need to add your weight to that normal BMI. Also, if you are overweight, you really need to drop that, because you have things like PCOS that can be caused by you being overweight. Now, it will disrupt your hormones, because now if you start getting insulin resistance, this one usually encourage overproduction of androgens in your system, and this will disrupt your menses, and this will decrease your fertility. Number 3, avoid night shifts. In case maybe you're coming out of the pill and you want to regain your fertility, make sure you're getting enough sleep. Now, this one is usually between 7 to 8 hours of good quality sleep. Now, it's very important for you, in case maybe you cannot avoid night shifts, make sure, and the reason why I'm very specific about night shifts is because at night, there's something that we call circadian rhythm, and it takes the account of time. Like, for example, at night, this is the best time for you to produce what we call melatonin, which usually have very good effects by resting your body completely, repairing some of the damages that were done during the day. This is the healing time. So at night, you really need to sleep. If you're not getting enough of that, then you're not giving enough time for production of hormones, and this might end up even making the fertility even worse. Now, you need to include food with antioxidants. One of the good things to tell whether foods contain antioxidants, look at the fruits that are brightly colored, something like tomatoes, just fruits that contain bright colors. They usually contain antioxidants that will help in removing free radicals in your body. And the free radicals usually are not good to have because now they can affect the sperms, they can affect even the eggs. So you need to take foods that will make sure that you don't have those radicals. Those are antioxidants. You can take even the green tea. It's a very good antioxidant. If you have a normal weight, it's important for you to take heavy breakfasts. Now, this is associated. So there's no so much scientific data supporting this, but those people, there was a study that was done, and it's associated high fertility to those who usually take a heavy breakfast early in the morning. So it's important for you if you want to encourage fertility in you. So there's a high correlation between that. And make sure you are dropping as much of processed fats and proteins as possible. Now, avoid what we call trans fats, and these are usually hydrogenated vegetable oils. Replace this with animal fats. They're very good because actually they are coming from an animal and they are not saturated. Plus, animals will give you good fats. Now, plant oils are usually highly associated with inflammation state in the body, which is not a good thing to have. Like we mentioned in a previous video, you need to keep a neutral environment for your fertility. Increase your intake of animal products, especially red meat, and also pollen. Bee pollen is very important. There's a high correlation between high fertility and this. We have limited studies, yes, but they point towards high fertility. Now, we have drugs that you can use in case maybe you are planning to have a shortcut. Now, we have the first category, which is the ones that usually induce ovulation. And we have several in this category. We have clomiphene citrate, which is Clomid. This is a very, what do we call this? Popular. It's highly used now. This one, it usually induces ovulation. And one thing you'll have to understand about those drugs that usually induce ovulation, you'll have to be very careful because sometimes it might trigger maturation of more or ovulation of more than one egg, meaning that you might end up having multiple births. So you might end up having twins, or maybe you have 3 births, or maybe 4, 5, you don't know. So this increases chances of getting a risky pregnancy. So it's very important for you to coordinate with your doctor or your clinician before you start taking the drugs. Now, in this category, we have several like letrozole, we have anastrozole, we have tamoxifen. Now, let's go to the second category where you find that you're having an injection with a human chorionic gonadotropin hormone, which is HCG, or something that we call gonadotropin releasing hormone. They usually work on the pituitary. They trigger production of either follicle stimulating hormone or luteinizing hormone, or both. Now, these ones will have effects on the pituitary gland where they are going to produce hormones like a follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. FSH will come and trigger maturation of a follicle in your ovary. Maturation will now trigger luteinizing hormone that will now trigger ovulation, where now you're either going to get pregnant and then you start producing progesterone, or you don't get pregnant and that egg triggers production of estrogen, which will now demolish the wall and you start getting your menses. It's important for you to know that when you're using the drugs to support your fertility, it's usually very important for you to have estrogen support during your luteal phase. In case you're finding value in the video, give us a thumbs up and also subscribe. I've noted by the I'm hoping 45% of those who are watching my videos have not subscribed. See you in the next video.